Yes. Oh, I see. Good news, everyone! Even though I was away for the weekend at my friend Henry's wedding, I was still able to get this video out on time. Congratulations to Henry and Taylor from a man doing a Hubert J. Farnsworth impression because he's been watching Futurama too much. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another installment of Home Media Reviews. This review is on My Neighbor Totoro. The opening little bit there was not only a congratulations to Henry and Taylor, but also it kind of fits with the theme of this review. I mean, Futurama is animation. Anime is kind of animation. I'm like really grasping at straws here, in case you couldn't tell. Get on with the actual video, damn it! I don't have long until my next nap. Professor, isn't it time for your nap now? You're right, it is! So before I keep doing bad impressions, why don't we move right along to the history section of My Neighbor Totoro? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is the first foreign film we have ever covered here on Home Media Reviews, which means we have two release dates to talk about here. So My Neighbor Totoro first hit theaters in Japan on April 16th, 1988. There are some people out there who did not know that My Neighbor Totoro came out in the 80s. Hope is one of those people. And to be honest, for a while there, I thought it came out in like 1991, 1992, but I was thinking more of the American theatrical release. Speaking of that, My Neighbor Totoro hit American theaters in April of 1993. Now, this had a brand new English dub made for it. That isn't the dub that we watched, though. We'll talk about that later on when we get into the early 2000s. Totoro then hit VHS and Laserdisc the following year in 1994, and I believe this version only had the English dub on it. It didn't have, like, any audio options, which would make sense because VHS and Laserdisc are analog formats, although I seem to remember Laserdisc having audio commentaries at one point. Maybe I'm just like, perhaps I'm thinking of something else. Perhaps I'm thinking of something else, though, but that's a weird, like, Mandela memory I have. Like, hey, Laserdisc has audio commentary, but how? It's an analog format. How would you change the audio track there? That just doesn't make sense. The DVD of Totoro then hit in 2002. Again, don't have an exact date for you here, but it took 8 years for it to finally hit that format. Now we move into the new American dub. So the company that produced the first American dub of Totoro lost its exclusive rights to that dub. So then Disney came in, and on March 7th, 2006, they released their own American dub of My Neighbor Totoro which is also significant because I believe that this is the first time that the original Japanese translation has been made available for American consumers. This is the translation that has Dakota and Ellie Fanning as the two main characters, and Frank Welker as Totoro, which just so happens to be the translation that Hope and I watched. March 2nd, 2010 brings us a reprint of this DVD. It was released to coincide with the physical media release of Ponyo over here in the United States. So I assume it had like Ponyo stickers plastered all over it. May 21st, 2013 brings us Totoro on Blu-ray finally. I'm having issues talking more about these releases because I'm like, we've already talked about the big dub change, and now Totoro's hit Blu-ray. Yay. It's really cool, though, that Totoro finally hit Blu-ray. November 17th, 2015 brings us the collected works of Hayao Miyazaki. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. This was a Blu-ray set that was exclusive to Amazon. Weird way to release something that's exclusive, but hey, Amazon exclusives, they do exist. This Blu-ray set, I think, is like the holy grail for Hayao Miyazaki fans, because this set included every film that he directed up until The Wind Rises. October 17th, 2017 brings us another Blu-ray/DVD release of My Neighbor Totoro. This time, it's significant, again, because it has changed distributors. It's not Disney that's putting this out. They licensed all of the Studio Ghibli content to Shout Factory. This also has a brand new label, G Kids. You'll hear me say in the close-up later on that the Shout Factory logo confuses me. That's because I didn't know when I shot that close-up that Shout Factory released this. I always thought that Disney never licensed out their stuff unless it's like Wall-E to the Criterion Collection, because they own the exclusive rights to put these movies out in the US, I think? But was The Boy and the Heron a Disney release? I don't think so. Somebody is bound to tell me all this information in the comments section, and honestly, I welcome it, because I don't know anything about the distribution rights to Studio Ghibli content. A year later, on December 11th, 2018, we got a 30th anniversary Blu-ray and CD set in a kind of awkward long box package from Shout Factory. I guess the CD includes the score from the movie, because in my mind, there's not really a lot of memorable songs here. It's the first song during the opening credits where it just says, Totoro, Totoro, over and over again, and then the ending song, which was really nice. So I don't know what else was on this CD. I assume it includes the score for the movie, which was really good. January 21st, 2020 brings us a similar, but not the same set from 2018. It's another long box release, and it included the Blu-ray and the CD. Basically the same releases in 2018. I guess Shout Factory just said, hey, we've got a couple of these still sitting around. Why don't we just change how the box is oriented? They'll buy it again. Later on in 2020, we got a Steelbook release for Totoro. This came out on October 20th, 2020. And this Steelbook was not exclusive to any one retailer. You could pick this up anywhere. I saw Studio Ghibli Steelbooks everywhere. Walmart, Target, Best Buy, Shout Factory, or somebody else. They're really good about keeping the anime Steelbooks on store shelves for people to pick up. It was a bit annoying, though, back in the day when you were walking into Best Buy trying to find the latest 4K Steelbook for something like, I don't know, Air Force One, and all you saw was Studio Ghibli Steelbooks. And I'm like, I don't want these. Give me something else. I just want to own Godzilla 1998 starring Matthew Broderick on 4K Steelbook, Best Buy. Why do you want me to buy Kiki's Delivery Service instead? And finally, on Christmas Eve 2023, we got a Target exclusive Blu-ray combo pack of My Neighbor Totoro. This included art cards from the movie. And this was probably included in a large batch of other Studio Ghibli films, like the aforementioned Kiki's Delivering Service, Howl's Moving Castle, Ponyo. I mean, they all get released in these huge batches every couple of years with new exclusive things like a CD, a long box, art cards. No 4K, though, for My Neighbor Totoro. The first time that Studio Ghibli made it onto 4K was actually The Boy and the Heron, which came out earlier this year. So, with no 4K for poor old Totoro, that brings us to the end of the history section. Let's move right along to the close-up. Alrighty, everyone. Here's your close-up look at My Neighbor Totoro. We have just the standard Blu-ray and DVD combo pack to look at here. Up at the top, aforementioned Blu-ray plus DVD, you have a banner for a Studio Ghibli film. There's your main cast, up there at the top with the film's logo, and then from Academy Award winning director Hayao Miyazaki, and then there's Totoro and one of the main girls waiting at the bus stop. This poster is really fun. I like it a lot. It's kind of funny, like, hey, there's this little girl waiting at a bus stop. Look at this giant creature behind her that looks derpy. It's a fun poster. The spine, G Kids, My Neighbor Totoro, the girl taken from the front, Blu-ray disc logo, Studio Ghibli logo again, and then your product number. The back features a ton of screenshots from the movie, as well as a quote from Roger Ebert. Your barcode peeking out of the slipcover there. You have a blurb about the movie, and then a breakdown of your bonus features, and then your film's rating and a whole bunch of other stuff, including the Shout logo, who I guess released this. I always thought it was Disney that had the rights to put out the Studio Ghibli films. I haven't done the research for the history section yet, at the time of recording this close-up, so the Shout logo, that perplexes me. Take off our slipcover. Your poster art underneath is the exact same. Spine is the exact same. The back is pretty much exactly the same. We have a little bit of cast and crew information down there. Other than that, though, pretty much the same. Oh, we also have some text specs listed down there. And we open her up. We have a little pamphlet. We'll take a look at that in a minute, and then another pamphlet, apparently. But here are your discs. This one is your DVD. It features Totoro and the Cat Bus. And then we have the Blu-ray disc, which is the two main girls from the movie. And if we take the discs out, you'll notice that there is some artwork underneath. I believe this is from the beginning of the movie. I haven't seen the movie in a while. Haven't watched it yet for this review, but I think this is from the beginning. That's a beautiful shot, though. Your pamphlets look like this. I believe this is an essay written about the movie. And then here's a little postcard from the movie where Totoro's running across. And here's another little statement about the movie. Director's statement. I believe that's from Hayao Miyazaki himself. Oh, it's an excerpt from an interview from 1986. Cool. Fun little pamphlet there. This other one is an advertisement for Ponyo and all of the other Studio Ghibli films. And also their steelbook variants. So that wraps up your close-up. Let's move right along to the menu tour. Alright everyone, here's your menu tour for My Neighbor Totoro. Starting off with the DVD. It's literally just the poster art. You've got Satsuki on there, which I don't know if I mentioned this later or not, but is it Sasuke or Satsuki? Because it's spelled Satsuki. Satsuki? They pronounce it Satsuki in the movie, so I'm going to say it that. But it's spelled differently. I don't know. Japanese is weird. We've got Satsuki there with Totoro waiting at the bus stop. You have play, chapters, setup, and bonus features. Your chapters are in groups of 4. You've got numbers and screenshots for each of them. And if we take a look here at the end, we have 18 chapters. There is no chapter for just the credits. Because I believe that's not the last shot of the movie. That's when they land at their house and they see that their mom and dad are there. I think. It's been a couple days since I watched this movie. I may need to watch it again before I actually record the ending section. But 18 chapters. We move on to setup. We have English 2.0, Japanese 2.0, and French 2.0. And for subtitles, we have English, English for original language version, and French. And your bonus content is as follows. We have Behind the Microphone, creating My Neighbor Totoro, the locations of My Neighbor Totoro, creating the characters, the Totoro experience, producer's perspective, creating Ghibli, scoring Miyazaki, textless opening and ending credits, and original theatrical trailers. So for a DVD, that is a lot of bonus content. I am very impressed with Shout Factory here. Okay, it's the same menu, and it's in way better quality, which means it's time for the Blu-ray. Yeah, nothing has been changed here. All your options are exactly the same. And I'd be willing to bet that if we click on chapters, it's the same number. I'm correct. It just takes less time for it to load the chapter menu. And for setup, we have English 2.0, Japanese 2.0, French 2.0. Except these are DTS HD master audio mixes, so that's cool. And then Subtitles are exactly the same as on the DVD. Let's take a look at bonus features. Okay, so the one bonus feature that's on the Blu-ray, that's not on the DVD, is feature-length storyboards. I'm assuming that means that there are multiple scenes that have storyboards that you can watch, or maybe you could watch the whole movie as a storyboard. On the Steelbook 4K of Coraline, there's an option for that. Just throwing an example out there, though. But as far as I can tell, everything else that's on here is on the DVD, except for the storyboards. And my controller batteries are low. It's been telling me that for weeks, and they still haven't died. Of course, now that I say that, they will die when I stop recording. So that wraps up your menu tour. Let's go ahead and head on back and answer the 5 main questions, as always. Alright, so we're back from the close-up. Now it's time to answer the 5 main questions, as always. Number 1, where can you pick this product up? Well, I would say you'd be able to pick this up at Target, because normally Shout Factory keeps these movies on store shelves for a really long time. Unfortunately, I was just at Target earlier this week, and there were no Studio Ghibli films to be found. And the last release of this movie was a Target exclusive, so don't expect to walk into Walmart and find this. So I'm going to say online retailers for this. I found our copy at a game exchange, actually. It was like $15 or something. Which is a really good deal, considering it came with the slipcover. You usually don't find these with their slipcovers anymore. So, online retailers or secondhand stores. Number 2, is this product still being printed nowadays? I really want to make an exception for this one because it's so close. It's like right there on the line of being a 2024 release. It came out in the waning days of 2023, but I cannot say yes to this. That pains me to say. Number 3, should you pick this product up? So before I jump into my thoughts on the actual movie, I just realized I never explained to you my history with Totoro and my history with anime in general. How silly of me. I have never been a huge fan of anime. I just have never liked the animation style. The fact that the lips just move up and down, there's no syncing done to the actual dialogue. At least when it comes to English translations. I'm sure in the original Japanese language, it looks alright and sounds alright, but in English, it just looks cheap to me. I'm also not a huge fan of foreign languages. That sounds really bad. It's not that I don't like foreign languages. It's not that I'm not interested to find out how other people speak. It's that I don't want to do research, and it boils down to the fact that I'm lazy, basically, is I don't want to read subtitles while I'm watching something. Like, subtitles, that every now and then, that makes sense, you know? Sometimes you need subtitles, but, like, if somebody else is speaking another language. But subtitles throughout the whole thing, it just gets annoying and tedious after a while. Plus, there are some very rabid anime fans out there, especially on the internet, and they will let you know how wrong you are if you express any criticism of any of their favorite animes. So a lot of that stuff has just turned me off to the whole concept of anime as a whole. I know that probably sounds biased and everything. Like, I can't believe you're writing off a whole genre just because you don't personally like how the lips move and you don't like the fan base and all that. I feel those are perfectly valid reasons. That's just me, though. You may not agree with that. That's fine. You can disagree. Just don't call me horrible names because I said I didn't watch Death Note. Hope had been wanting to see Totoro for a long time, probably since before we got together. And we watched it a few years ago. I think we watched it on HBO Max. She finally talked me into giving it a try. And I liked it enough when I first saw it. I was like, yeah, this movie is sufficiently strange and creative. I would never want to watch it again, though. And I bought the Blu-ray copy that I showed in the close-up for her as like a surprise present for something. I don't remember what it was, what special occasion that was for, but she was so happy with that. And now here I am watching Totoro for the second time in my life. And I must say, I liked it better the second time. The movie opens with your standard opening titles with some fantastic animation and a absolutely stacked cast. We get both Dakota and Ellie Fanning playing Satsuki and Mei, and we get Pat Carroll playing the adopted grandmother character. I had no idea that Ursula, Coraline, and Catherine the Great were all in a movie together. By the way, if you guys have never seen The Great show starring Ellie Fanning and Nicholas Hoult, you should give it a shot. It's only 3 seasons, 30 episodes, I'm pretty sure, 10 per season. It's really good. I'm halfway through season 2 and really liking it, so you should give it a shot. Speaking of shots, these landscape shots at the beginning are beautiful. I love the watercolor look of these mountains. Gave me a real Lilo and Stitch vibe. Satsuki and Mei definitely act like children throughout this entire movie, which makes sense. They're young kids. I've never known children to be that excited about a collapsing building. But Satsuki and Mei are so hyped up that they start frolicking and doing cartwheels on the grass. Like, good for you guys. I miss being that carefree. Hey, mister, where do you want your radio? Definitely in the middle of the field, bro. That's precisely where the radio goes. Mei, your hands are filthy. What on earth did you do? I caught a soot gremlin, but he got away. Girl, you killed that soot gremlin with the way you slapped your hands together. Mei is a murderer and should be tried as a fully grown adult. I don't care that she's 6. That was premeditated murder, and she should be on death row for that. Also, the "What on earth did you do" line was delivered a little bit awkwardly, Miss Dakota Fanning. I'm gonna have to ding you some points there. Never mind that you and your sister give a fantastic vocal performance between the two of you throughout this entire film. I'm gonna have to knock you some points, though. They do not hide that the kid in the police hat, I can't remember what his name is, I didn't write it down here. They don't hide that he has a huge crush on Satsuki, the way that he's acting towards her. It's completely obvious. Also, he's played by Paul Butcher. What? You don't know who Paul Butcher is? He was Dustin on Zoe 101. Come on, guys. I love how whimsical everything feels when Mei meets Totoro. The music is perfect. The way those creatures run is adorable. And when Mei ends up landing on Totoro's stomach and how they interact, it's so sweet. The way Totoro, licks his lips and almost yells when he gets woken up and just slowly falls back asleep after reminded me a lot of how Leia sleeps. It's a completely different introduction to Totoro for Satsuki and way funnier. Totoro looks like he's high as a kite with that leaf on his head, and when he holds up that umbrella, I'm rolling. It's just hilarious. I love that they chose that shot for the poster for the Blu-ray release. It perfectly sums up this movie. The cat bus makes its first appearance at the bus stop. What the hell is this thing? It's a bus, but also a cat, and the eyes are headlights, and it, makes a weird noise when its side opens up. It's like, almost like a 1980s techno music vibe. Very creative. Very creative. It makes no goddamn sense, though. Totoro gave us a wonderful present. It was full of acorns. I just have to tell you all Hope's reaction to that gift. That's f***ing lame. Look, she doesn't hold back when we watch movies. She'll just blurt out whatever. There's a lot of yelling throughout Totoro. At this point in my notes, we're about an hour into the movie, and these kids have yelled no less than 67 times. 2 more and they hit the funny number. Satsuki claims that the doctor that's keeping her mom in the hospital wants her mom to get used to the house a little bit at a time. What's there to get used to? It's a house. You live there. There's not much change from a hospital room to your bedroom. It's just quieter in your bedroom because you're not constantly hearing the noise of the beeper every now and then. That doctor is definitely running some kind of insurance scheme. He should be tried as an adult. He and Mei should be on death row. Climax of this movie involves a lot of running and Totoro roaring. The cat bus shows up. It's confirmed these creatures exist in some imaginary reality where only the kids can see them, and the cat bus knows where Mei is because she ran off after their mom couldn't come home from the hospital. Mei can book it, man. For being that young and holding an ear of corn in her arms, she can run like the wind. Why isn't she, in a marathon right now, or at least training for a half? And I get that a young child like May would overreact to this whole situation with her mom not being able to come home. But the way she sprints down the road holding an ear of corn, I just couldn't help but laugh. And she's still holding that ear of corn when she's found. Is this in some, like, emotional support ear of corn? Why was she still holding that? The real emotional climax, though, is when the cat bus brings the girls to the hospital where the mom and the dad are talking. Everything is going to be okay. Everybody realizes that the world's not ending. It's just everything's going to be fine. It's a really sweet moment where the girls realize that their parents have got this. Totoro feels like he's accomplished something, and the cat bus is just sitting there like, I'm still here. My Neighbor Totoro has a lot of creativity present on screen, paired with some fantastic animation and a wonderful voice cast. Not a bad performance to mention here. Everyone sounds great. I just hate how the mouths don't match the words. Usually I'd be more unhappy that we never truly understand what Totoro is or why he exists, but weirdly enough, I don't think it's needed here. The explanation of just imagination makes perfect sense in the mind of a child, and this is told to us from a child's perspective. It's truly able to capture that whimsical spirit that we all long for as adults, and My Neighbor Totoro definitely deserves a recommendation. It made me feel like a kid again. This movie makes me look inward and really miss my whimsical childhood days when I really had nothing to worry about. It made me reflect on all those times that I possibly screamed, I can't wait to grow up. When really you don't realize that, man, you don't know how good you've got it. The world is literally your oyster. You can do practically whatever you want. Think whatever you want. Your imagination is the most powerful when you're a child and you don't understand the absolute horrors that this world is capable of producing. And My Neighbor Totoro really helped me capture and hold on to just a little piece of that childhood spirit that's still in me somewhere. It's in all of us. And if you watch Totoro, I guarantee it will be able to help you find that too. So yeah, I like Totoro a lot more the second time. It really hit me on a personal level, and yes, I absolutely recommend that you should see it. Number 4, where should you pick this product up? Well, same answers as number 1. Hey, if you find the copy with a slipcover at Game Exchange, and it's not, $35, pick it up. And number 5, what price should you pay? Honestly, $15 was a steal for this at Game Exchange. It's worth probably more, around like $20 to $25 with the slipcover. So I would go as high as $25. The Blu-ray transfer on this is spectacular as well. The film grain and everything is still intact. It doesn't look too modern, but it also doesn't look like it's still stuck in 1988. It looks fantastic. They nailed this Blu-ray transfer. Definitely watch this in HD on HBO Max or buy the Blu-ray because it looks fantastic. It actually looked way better on Blu-ray. I remember it looking somewhat not great on HBO Max, so if you get the chance, buy this thing on Blu-ray because it looks fantastic. If you get the DVD, though, you might as well be buying the HBO Max transfer, though, because the DVD of this doesn't look great. It's really muddy in some places. I watched a couple scenes of it while I was filming the menu tour. DVD transfer of this is just, it's okay. Well, folks, that wraps up your home media review from My Neighbor Totoro. I didn't expect this movie to hit me as hard as it did, but I am grateful for it because it made me feel like a kid again. I miss that feeling. I'll never truly be able to go back to that, and that's one of the great tragedies of life itself, but I can still hold on to a little piece of that childhood whimsical feeling, and Totoro helped me find that. So, thank you, Totoro, fictional character. I really should be saying thank you to Hayao Miyazaki. I really hope that I'm pronouncing your name right, man. We are fast approaching episode number 100 of Home Media Reviews. We still got one more episode in the middle there. Next week, number 99. I'm sure all of you are wondering, what am I going to be covering for that? This next movie is one of the first movies that Hope ever told me she really liked. At the beginning of our relationship, she didn't really seem like she was a full-on, like, hey, this movie is great, you should watch this. She just kind of seemed like a casual cinema viewer. But as we moved forward, this was one of the first movies that she said, I have to show you this because this is one of my favorites. And that movie is Pitch Perfect. Yeah, good old Garrett's going to be reviewing a musical next week, or somewhat of a musical. It's not really a musical. It has musical numbers in it, but it's not a musical per se. It's not La La Land or anything like that. So I hope that you'll come back and hear my thoughts on Pitch Perfect next week. Thank you all so very much for watching. I will see you all then. Good night, everybody.